The main fiscal message is that with the economy, the world economy proving resilient and inflation approaching target, it's very important for fiscal policy to stay the course, to control rising public debt, control public debt risks, and create buffers to have room to maneuver to respond to future shocks.
Are policymakers ignoring what have already been warnings? We've seen it in treasury markets, we've seen it in gilts in recent years. Are they ignoring some of those early warnings that markets have delivered around the growing debt pile?
No. One very important and documented phenomenon in the fiscal monitor is that interest rates are volatile. Interest rates are more volatile than real growth rates. We have this trending down of medium-term growth prospects in the world. And of course, high and volatile interest rates make the task of policymakers harder. And I believe that policymakers and politicians around the world are conscious of the constraints that the financing needs put on their ability to conduct policies.
I want to pick up on your point around the interaction of monetary and fiscal policy, because there was a report by Brookings pointing out that stimulus checks in the United States actually showed up in loans and in vehicle price inflation, that there was a real link here from some of that fiscal policy in the United States. Does that mean fiscal policy is undermining the Fed, undermining monetary policy?
So I would very much emphasize that monetary and fiscal policy had to work in tandem, pushing exactly in the same direction at the time of the pandemic. And that coordination, that symbiosis between monetary and fiscal policy was, to the best of my knowledge, unprecedented. At this point in time, with the cost of living crisis attenuated and inflation coming closer to target, we have a situation where there is a lot of divergence, a lot of differentiation around the world, and fiscal policy is again taking center stage.
If we consider fiscal spending, how do we see that it has some ability to help policymakers tackle the last mile of inflation? Is there a link here that it could have some significance for tackling still stubborn inflation?
So we do emphasize in the fiscal monitor that in countries that still have excess demand, front-loading fiscal adjustment can help central banks in their task to bring inflation to target, to be successful in the last mile of disinflation, as you put it. But I would also emphasize fiscal policy as structural policy to tackle long-term challenges like competitiveness, growth, innovation, and productivity, which are covered in the fiscal monitor, but also climate change.